really nice person.
He really cares about people. I mean, of course,
absolutely.
we've seen that throughout the years with his exercise videos, and that he actually goes and he meets people that can't go to him, that are, severely overweight, and he helps them, and I adore him.
Yeah, I mean, he represents the potential of what a lot of good people can do. Like, you go out and make a difference and stuff. So it was really a pleasure working with him, too. And that he was playing a crazy... The role he was playing was so not who he is, but it's also very interesting to watch him play it, so it's okay.
It was so unexpected. It really was. I mean, they did a great job with him, too.
They did. I mean, he played a lot uglier than Britt.
Right, exactly. By the time Britt came on, everybody's like, oh,
at that point, I think so, because Britt hasn't been carried out yet, so.
No. I know.
That's true. And nothing says crazy work week like I carried Richard Simmons out in the middle of his crazy race.
That must have been a workout. That must have been a workout alone, carrying him.
He's surprisingly light.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't look like he weighs very much, and what amazes me, he doesn't change his style at all. He's still got like those 70s shorts on, and
that's
that T-shirt, and oh my gosh, it's so funny.
All there. It's all there. He has his Richard Simmons fro, everything.
Yes.
All there.
It's still there.
Well, moving on from General Hospital, I have to say that I also loved your guest spot as the fanboy of Sydney, Doug Spearman, on Old Dogs, New Tricks. My gosh. How much fun was it working with them, and what in the world was up with that action figure?
Oh, man, it's funny. Leon Accord, and he's created a really fun show, and the environment that they created on there was so free, and it allowed me to kind of play and improvise and do stuff, and I had such a good time. And David Pevsner, who played the person after whom I had this crazy obsession.
Right.
He was so open to it and stuff. It was a lot of fun to work on that set, and they just kind of said, this is where essentially the scene that you're referring to is where essentially the other shoe drops, and we realize this hip together guy might not be all there. And
right.
I mean, that's a fun role for an actor to play. Go on and just be, crazy. Oh yeah, let me go ahead and take that role. So it was a lot of fun. Very funny.
Whose idea was it for the action figure? Did you come up with that, or did they?
That was in the script. That I had a collection of action figures, and his and Nathan's action figure, and the action figure of
Sydney.
Sydney's action figure was like a fan item, and then what I did with it, that was me, but the lines and everything and the situation was theirs, and so together it created a really cool thing. They let me just go kooky on it.
And it was so funny, too, because I had not caught up yet on the second season of Old Dogs, New Tricks. I watched a couple episodes, but there's so many things, of course, that I have to watch between TV and web series to do the interviews, but also because I love watching them. And then when I went to your IMDb, and I was like, wait a minute, he's on there? I haven't seen that scene yet. So then, of course, I caught up on it, and I was like, oh, my God, that was hysterical.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was a really good time. A lot of fun.
Do you think you have more freedom to improvise on a web series versus a TV show or a film?
I would say in terms of order, TV is a little more, there's a greater deal of rigidity. And then film allows you a little bit more freedom. And it also depends on the set. It depends on the writer. It depends on, what type of film it is. Acting in general, you have to have an improvisational kind of state of being, because everything should be honest, is most honest, and I'm not even articulating this very well.
Yeah.
You should be free to interact in the scene, and actors have to be observant of what they're also being given, what's being presented to them. So you can't keep, nothing stays exactly the same each time. Even if the dialogue is the same, the just the sentiment, the movement, how something is emphasized, what's happening while they're saying it always changes. So there's always a state of play and improvisation in acting. But web series, I noticed that there's a little bit more freedom because you have people you're working with on a more, for lack of a better term, grassroots kind of level where it's like we're all trying to put this together and work together to make it something. It's not controlled by a big studio, so it's kind of like we have the time and ability to be a little bit more creative. Films also can be that way depending on what type of film it is. But, certain times with TV, you have to get in and get out and get stuff done. So you kind of have to, it's a little bit more minimal with TV, I've found. It could be different for other actors, but that's what I found.
Right, yeah. Well, that's understandable, and I think that even with All My Children and One Life to Live coming back on the web, we expect to see things that we wouldn't see on TV.
Right.
So that's kind of a good thing.
We have a little bit more license to do certain things that might be a little more monitored on network TV. Yeah.
There it goes. Censor. No.
Right.
No,
exactly.
There won't be any little black blurbs over somebody's boobs or something.
Exactly. No delays here. No delay.
David, did you want to go ahead and ask another question?
Yeah. How did you get involved with Shadow Complex?
Oh, I got that through my voiceover agent. Video games, the animation division of my voiceover agency. I auditioned for that as well. I went to the studio at which they produced a lot of these video games and booked it. And that's a lot of fun. Voiceover in general has been a really fun part of my career, and for a couple of reasons. One, you don't necessarily have to look like you're ready to be out in public because no one ever sees you. They just hear your voice.
You can go in your PJs.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're not being watched, it's almost akin to like being in your room and pretending and or dancing or being stupid. I mean, I hope you guys understand what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Okay. It's like that because all you have is the microphone and the engineer who, he knows what's going on. He doesn't care. You can wild out, which is what I love about voiceover. You can just go in, do your thing, fully put all your acting ability into just your voice and, call it a day. So it was great to be a part of that. It's really neat to say I'm the voice of certain characters in video games. And, people are like, is that you? And they play the game and like, oh, my gosh, wow,
Now, would you ever think about doing something like, one of the animated films and being a voiceover, or have you?
Absolutely. I sure would. I've not yet done an animated film, but I have. That's definitely something I'm interested in, and I have a professional reel of probably I whittled it down to like 10 characters, but I had like 16 different animated characters that I wrote, created, gave background for, and then put on a demo reel. And it's just, I love it. I love every single part of what acting represents, and whether it be voiceover, on camera, commercial, film, television. I was saying to a friend of mine the other day, I'm going to use the rooter to the tutor. Anything I can use, I'm going to use in the craft, and I'm happy to do it.
Well, you definitely were born as an actor. I mean, there's no doubt about that. When did you first feel that? Were you really young, or did it come later?
Yeah. When I was about 5, 6 years old, I used to go watch my dad do community theater in Chicago, and I'd seen him in Fiddler on the Roof and a bunch of other stuff, and I just kind of had this thing where I was like, I know that's what I want to be, and I understood the concept of the audience being on one side of it, and then that invisible wall before the stage. I knew that's where I wanted to be, and I would often perform, shows in the living room when my grandparents would come over, and I'd make everybody sit down and watch, a non-scripted, not really organized shows, but I was a kid. I just wanted people to watch me do stuff, because I watched my dad do it. But yeah, I knew from a very young age I wanted to do it. And when I finally committed myself to doing it, it was as though everything became easier, like doors seemed to open, or I guess maybe I was more in tune to the doors that I needed to go through in order to achieve what I wanted to do, you know.
Did you do a lot of theater in school?
It's funny. I did some high school theater. I didn't do any theater in college. I was running track. I was singing in choirs, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. I mean, you know, within the school curriculum. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't acting. I took one acting class, and I got a C. I got a C because I didn't fill out my journal. That was what it was. It was acting 101, and I didn't properly write in my journal, and I ended up getting a C. And so I thought, well, I was horrible, and then I stopped and thought about it. I go, wait, this doesn't feel like acting. It felt like writing. And, you know, later on I ended up just walking into a community theater and saying, I don't care what it is. I want to play. I'll play whatever role you have. I just want to act, you know. Mm-hmm. There was a point I thought I was going to go to an acting school up in Seattle, and aside from the price being very expensive, I opened up their pamphlet, and one of the sentences said something to the extent of, if you want to be an actor, all there is to do is act.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
I realized that doesn't have to cost $26,000 a year.
Right.
I can just walk into and that's what led me to walk into the community theater. And community theater became repertory theater. Repertory theater became local commercials and films. And then I moved from Oregon to down here and, you know, doing what I wanted to do, you know, doing what I felt like I was supposed to be doing in the first place. Yeah, and I just encourage anybody who has a desire, a dream to be a certain thing, whether you want to be an actor or a carpenter or an architect, whatever it is, you know, go for it, because your desire is what's going to help you to succeed. It's your dream. If you do anything else, you won't be as good as you'll be.
And you won't be as happy either.
Yeah, exactly. Doors open up because you're in tune to what it is you want to do. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know. I mean, take it or leave it. That's how I feel. I mean, I hope that can resonate with somebody. I mean,
yeah, and you won't know unless you try. You know, if you just keep leaving it behind, you're always going to think, what if? You
got to try. Don't worry about what other people say, because other people will only tell you their experience from their position. That has nothing to do with you. You have to go. If you can sing, you can carry a note, and you've always wanted to be a singer, take lessons. Get good at it. Follow the careers or follow the advice of those who are expert in your field. Go. Do it. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying don't have a means by which to, you know, pay for food along the way.
Of course,
You know, but don't ignore that, because there's something divine about, you know, just that voice in you that says, this is what I want to do. It's there for a reason.
I was just going to say, it's there for a reason. You got it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, that's my perspective. I mean, you know, so.
And I think that's great advice. I really do. And I told my children when they were younger, you know, Mommy, I want to be a star. Mommy, I want to be a singer. Mommy, I want to play football. Mommy, you know. And I always told them, go ahead, you know, go for it. You can be anything you want to be. But I'm telling you right now, if you get into sports or you get into the arts, just have something that you can fall back on when you're not working or when you're looking for work or in between jobs or whatever the case might be. Or if you're a football player and you get hurt, you have to have something to fall back on, and that's the only thing I ask of them. Use
your gifts to get yourself, you know, if you're an athlete, you know, you can get scholarship. You can get, you know, things that can assist you along the way, and that can help you get a great education in addition to you having fun being a professional athlete. Because, you know, life isn't just one thing, you know. I've had so many different kinds of jobs over the years and stuff, and, you know, if, knock on wood, you get to live a long, happy, healthy life, you're going to want to be able to do different things, you know. It's not even about, you know, what if I don't make it? It's not that. You can do what you want to do, and you can have a smart way of going about it. You know what I mean? It's not either or. It's meanwhile. And I guess the last thing I would say is be specific. Be really specific. You know, if you move to LA, don't come down here thinking I'll just do whatever, because you will end up going back home, or you will end up just doing whatever, and you don't really always want to do whatever.
No, right.
Be specific. No, it is